What's up, guys? So bringing you another gameplay, and this time I decided to do what I usually do, half commentary, half off-topic conversation. And you see coming up right here, my opponent has the new Brian Dawkins, and that guy looks pretty good, so definitely made me nervous to see what he could do. But anyways, something that I never talk about is the NFL, like what's really going on. So there's so much, there's so much material that I could talk about. And the first thing is the Cardinals and Seahawks game. Those crazy missed field goals from so close. That's crazy how they're missing so many field goals in that game. And my question is, how do you guys feel about these field goals? Because lately there's been this talk about getting rid of the field goals. And honestly, I say leave them in there, because those same people who want to ban them, after that game was over, I bet those people don't complain when those field goal kickers come in clutch and actually win you a close game at the end. So let me know, do you guys think that we should get rid of field goals or keep them in there? Personally, like I said, I say leave them in there. It makes the game more interesting. Next thing I want to talk about are the Carolina Panthers, man. It's crazy. How do you go from going to the Super Bowl to immediately going to 1-5? And that's with getting Kelvin Benjamin back. That is crazy. I don't know if they lost some coordinator or something, but I don't see how you can go from the Super Bowl to 1-5. And of course, you see Cam Newton acting up in those press conferences, not wanting to answer questions, walking off. That is not a good way to look, and that looks like a very big sore loser. So let me know, guys, why do you think the Carolina Panthers are 1-5 this year? And the next thing we'll talk about is, do you guys think Dak Prescott is the real deal, or is he just a product of a good offensive line? Honestly, I think any quarterback could look good with a great offensive line. Ryan Tannehill, for example, when he had a shitty offensive line, he was getting sacked all the time. But now these past 2 games, he's got all his offensive linemen finally healthy these past 2 games, and look what he's done. So what do you guys think about Prescott? And speaking of Dallas's offensive line, what do you guys think about Ezekiel Elliott, leading the league in rushing right now? Is he the real deal, or is he just a product of a good offensive line? For example, Jay Ajayi. I'm not biased, I'm being serious. Think about it. These past 2 games is the first time ever the Dolphins' entire front line has been healthy. All those first round picks on the offensive line, that was the talk of the offseason. They were always hurt this whole season. There's always 1 or 2 of them that was always hurt. These past 2 games were the first 2 games where the entire offensive line was healthy, and look what Jay Ajayi's done. He sure as hell wasn't doing that before. So what do you guys think? The real deal, or is it just a good offensive line? And you know what? I changed my mind. I was going to do this video, like I said, half commentary, half off-topic conversations, but there are just so many stories going on in the NFL right now that I want to get to, and there's no way that I was going to be able to get to them in just half this video. So you know what? This whole video, I'm just going to do off-topic conversations regarding the NFL, but next time we'll do some commentary. But for now, stories. And the first story that I want to get back to is the Ezekiel Elliott and Jay Ajayi story. Like I said, Jay Ajayi was not doing this when his offensive line was all injured and not, there. But the first time our entire offensive line was healthy, all these first round picks on the offensive line finally showed up, which was last week against the Steelers. He ran for 200 yards, and Tannehill was sacked 0 times. Tannehill is the most sacked quarterback since 2012, like 200 something sacks. It's fucking ridiculous. And to me, it's no coincidence that the first game that the entire offensive line is healthy, he gets sacked 0 times, and Jay Ajayi goes for 200 yards. Then the next week, it happens again. They're pushing people around. He runs for 200 yards again. So the same thing could technically be said for Elliott. He has arguably the best offensive line in the game, so he's rushing past people and whatnot. But here's my thing. Is he as good as advertised? If you took Ezekiel Elliott and put him on the Browns, would he still have 700 rushing yards or 750, whatever it is? Would he still be as good? That's my point. And the same thing goes with Dak Prescott. If you took Dak Prescott and put him on the Browns as their starting quarterback, let's say they drafted him, would they be 5-1 like the Cowboys are? Let me know, guys. How do you guys feel about this whole Dallas Cowboys situation going on? The next thing is Arian Foster retiring, and I swear I'm not being biased for Dolphin news. This is actual news that's coming out in the NFL. Now, half of me was kind of surprised. It definitely just came out of the blue. But at the same time, it's really not that surprising, especially when you were signed to a team where everybody thought you were going to be the starting back. And then Jay Ajayi is going for 200 yards, left and right. Not that surprising that he retired. And the last thing I want to talk about is this whole Dez Bryant and Tony Romo situation. There's all this talk lately about them both being traded. Now, what's crazy is that they're both hurt, and yet the Cowboys are winning without them. They're 5-1 without Dez Bryant and Tony Romo. And I can understand trading Romo because you got Dak Prescott. He's doing just fine without Romo there. Dez Bryant, I mean, can you really replace Dez Bryant with anyone on that team or in free agency or anywhere for that matter? I mean, he's one of the top receivers in the game. Personally, I don't think they're going to trade Bryant. I do feel more comfortable saying that they might trade Romo, but even so, the market cannot be that high for Romo, especially since he is so injury prone. But anyways, guys, do not be shy. Do not hold back. Let me know in the comments how you really feel about all the topics I brought up. I will reply to pretty much every comment you guys put for this video. I have to do a better job of replying to you guys. That's my bad, but I promise I will reply to you guys for this video. I want to know how you guys feel about this. But like I said, don't be shy, don't hold back, be blunt, be honest. How do you feel about this? But anyways, guys, I'll see y'all boys in the comment section. Peace.